My husband looked at me with cold eyes and said, "Get out. I just found out I'm getting money. Lots of money. And I don't want you here anymore." He pointed at the door like I was a stranger. 3 days later, papers came. Divorce papers. I signed them without saying one word. But when we went to hear what the lawyer had to say about the money, something crazy happened. My husband fell on his knees right in front of me. His face turned white like paper. "Welcome to Auntie's Stories. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from today. We love hearing from you. Now let me tell you what happened to me. My name is Brielle, and my story starts on a cold Monday morning. The alarm clock made a loud beeping sound at 5:30. It was still dark outside. I could see tiny bits of ice on the window. I moved slowly so I wouldn't wake up Marcus. That's my husband. Our little apartment was freezing. The heater barely worked. We lived in a small place with just 2 rooms on the bad side of town. I walked to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. I'm 32, but I looked much older. My eyes had dark circles under them. My skin looked tired. My hair needed to be fixed, but I had no time or money for the hair salon. I touched my face and it felt rough. I splashed cold water on my cheeks and started getting ready. "You're up again," Marcus said from the bed. His voice sounded mean. "Yeah, I have to go to work at 7, I said softly. "Just go back to sleep." "How can I sleep when you make so much noise this early?" He turned away from me and pulled the blanket over his head. Felt sad. A long time ago, maybe 4 years back, Marcus used to wake up with me. He would give me a kiss and tell me I looked pretty. He would make me tea and tell me to have a good day. But now everything I did made him angry. I went to the kitchen and made instant coffee. I ate 1 piece of bread with butter while standing up. There was never time to sit and eat properly. By 7 o'clock, I was walking out the door to catch the bus. I worked at a small doctor's office. My job was to answer the phone and help people when they came in. The job was boring. Same thing every single day. Phone calls, upset people, problems with papers. I got paid $2,800 every month. That's all. But it was steady money. And right now our house needed that money badly. Marcus worked too, but not really. He kept saying he was starting a business. For 3 years now he kept trying different things. First he wanted to sell vitamins online. Then he wanted to be a business helper. Then he wanted to fix computers. Nothing ever worked. All our saved money went into his ideas. Money we saved for a trip. Money for a new fridge. Money to fix things in the apartment. All gone. And we never got anything back. "I'm making our future better," he would say every time I asked if maybe he should get a regular job. "You don't understand business, Brielle. You have to spend money to make money. Look at rich people. They all took chances." So I kept quiet. I got a second job at night. After I left the doctor's office, I would come home and work on my computer. I helped small businesses with their numbers and bills. I would sit there until midnight, typing and checking other people's money just so we could pay rent, buy food, and give Marcus money for his next big idea. That night job gave me $1,500 more each month. Sometimes $2,000 if I worked extra hard. The bus was late that morning, and I almost didn't make it to work on time. The whole day was crazy busy. Phone ringing, people yelling, doctors needing things. By lunch my head hurt so bad. But I couldn't go home yet. After work I had to stop at the store and get food. Then I had to come home and work on my computer again. I had a big job to finish by tomorrow night. I got home around 8:30. My arms hurt from carrying the heavy bags. My feet hurt from walking all day. Marcus was sitting on the couch with his laptop, looking at something on the screen. The kitchen was a mess. Dirty plates and cups everywhere. Food bits on the table. An empty bag of chips on the floor. I quietly took off my jacket and went to the kitchen. I started washing all the dirty dishes. "Brie, why don't you rest first?" Marcus said, but he didn't even look at me. "You're always doing too much. If I don't wash them now, who will?" Said, feeling so tired. "Girl, whatever. You can wash them later. The house won't fall down if dishes sit in the sink one more night." I didn't say anything back. It was no use. We used to cook together. We used to clean together. We used to make plans for fun weekends. He used to help me organize the closet and paint the walls. Now I felt like the maid, not his wife. I finished the dishes and wiped the table. I put all the food away in the fridge. Then I heated up some leftover chicken for myself and sat down to eat. Marcus came to the kitchen, got himself some juice from the fridge, took an orange from the bowl, and went back to the couch. Marcus, can we go somewhere this Sunday? I asked carefully. Maybe just take a walk in the park by the water. We haven't gone anywhere together in so long. Maybe 3 months now. Bree, I'm trying to focus on my work, he said, waving his hand like he was shooing a fly. I don't have time for walks. Can't you see I'm busy? I'm about to make something big happen. My friend Rico found someone who wants to give us money for our new project. I have to get everything ready. And you're talking about walks. I stopped talking. Something big. I heard him say that so many times in the last 3 years. The big thing never came. Just more promises. More projects. More nothing. I finished eating, washed my bowl, and went to my computer. I had to finish work for 2 people by morning. I sat at the desk in the corner of our bedroom. I turned on the little lamp and looked at all the numbers on the screen. Through the wall I could hear the TV. Marcus was watching a game. Every few minutes he would yell at the TV, talking about the players. That's how my days went. Every single day. Every week. Every month. Work home, work home. I couldn't remember the last time I bought something new for myself. My pants had holes in them. My shoes were falling apart. The bottom was coming off and my feet got wet when it rained. I needed a warm coat for winter, but there was no money. Last month Marcus asked me for $1,000. He said he needed to buy equipment for his business. I gave it to him. I couldn't say no. And I noticed Marcus was different now. He looked at me like I was a problem. Like I was stopping him from being successful. You should really go to the gym, he said one night while I was changing into my pajamas. You don't look good anymore. Look at yourself. I stopped moving. I was standing there in my old bra and sweatpants. I looked at him. I couldn't believe what I just heard. Marcus, I'm just tired, I said quietly. I don't have time for the gym. I work from 7 in the morning until midnight. That's just an excuse, he said, looking at his phone. Everyone makes time if they really want to. Look at Jasmine, Rico's girlfriend. She keeps herself looking good. Hair done, nails done, nice clothes. And you? Well, you know what I mean. He didn't finish his sentence. But I understood. I got into bed and turned to face the wall. I made fists with my hands under the blanket. I felt like crying, but I held it in. I wasn't going to cry. I was just tired. That's all. Tomorrow would be better. New day, new work, new problems. Crying wouldn't change anything. 1 week later it happened again. We were in the kitchen. I was making dinner. Cooking chicken and rice. Marcus was looking at something on his tablet. You know, Bree, real wives help their husbands win, he said suddenly. Look at Tony's wife. She doesn't even work. She stays home, cooks, takes care of everything. And Tony can focus on his business. Now Tony has his own company that actually makes real money. Marcus, how would we eat if I didn't work? I said, flipping the chicken. That's the problem right there, Marcus said loudly. That's exactly why nothing works for me. 'Cause I have to think about bills. I have to worry about you being tired. I have to worry about you being unhappy. Can't focus on my dreams. Marcus, what are you saying? If you were making real money, I could focus on growing my business. But instead, it's always we don't have enough money. Always worrying about every dollar. How am I supposed to think big when you're counting pennies? I turned off the stove. The food was done. I didn't say anything. I just put the chicken on a plate and put it on the table. Marcus took a piece and ate it. This is too salty, he said, making a face. I tasted it. The salt was fine. Normal. He was just trying to start a fight because he was angry. Because he wanted to blame me for his problems. 'Cause I was easy to blame. Winter went away and spring came. Kept working 2 jobs. Kept doing everything. Marcus got colder and meaner. Sometimes he didn't come home at night. He said he was at Rico's house talking about business until late, so he just slept there. I didn't ask questions. I was scared to know the truth. Scared that maybe there was another girl. That maybe he only lived with me because it was easy. Free apartment, hot food, clean clothes. Then something happened that changed everything. It was a normal Thursday evening in April. I just came home from work. I put water on the stove to make spaghetti. I started cutting up tomatoes. Marcus was sitting on the couch, but he wasn't looking at his computer. He was on the phone. He was talking quiet, but I could hear excitement in his voice. "Yeah, I understand," he said into the phone. "Yeah, I'll come tomorrow." "What time?" 10 in the morning. "Okay, I'll be there. Thanks for calling me." He hung up and just sat there. He stared at nothing. Then he jumped up fast and started walking around the room. He was rubbing his hands together. "What happened?" I asked, looking out from the kitchen with a knife in my hand. Marcus turned around. He had a weird smile on his face. Not a happy smile. A greedy smile. "My Uncle Raymond died," he said. I almost dropped the knife. Marcus's Uncle Raymond was very old. Almost 90 years old, I think. We only met him one time in all the years we were together. He lived far away in another state. He never talked to family much. But still he died. "Marcus, I'm so sorry," I said, wiping my hands and walking closer. "How did it happen? Was he sick?" "Sorry." Marcus laughed. But it wasn't a nice laugh. "Yeah, okay, it's sad. He was old." "Yeah. But that's not the important thing." The lawyer called. "Uncle Raymond left something for me in his will." "What's a will?" "Yes. It's a paper that says who gets your stuff when you die. And I'm in it. That means there's something there for me." He had a house. I remember it. A big house with 3 bedrooms downtown. Maybe other things too. Maybe money in the bank. Maybe property. "I'm going to the lawyer tomorrow to find out everything." He started walking around the room again, rubbing his hands together like someone who just won the lottery. "Finally," he said. "Finally something good happens to me. You understand, Bree? This is destiny. This is a sign from God. I told you everything would work out for me. We just had to wait." I stood there watching him. Something inside me felt wrong. Like a little pain in my chest. This is how he acted when his uncle died. Not sad, not crying, but happy about getting money. His own uncle just died and he was celebrating. "Maybe we should plan the funeral first," I said gently. "Help send him off properly." "His sister Aunt Carol will do that," Marcus said, waving his hand. She lived near him. They talked all the time. "Let her handle it. I need to handle the money." The lawyer said I have to come the day after tomorrow at 10. He was so excited all night. He couldn't sit still. He kept walking back and forth, calling friends, telling everyone the same thing. "Uncle died, left me stuff in his will, I'm about to be rich." The spaghetti on the stove boiled over. Water went everywhere and the pasta got burned. I turned off the stove, threw everything in the trash, and just went to the bedroom. I didn't want to eat anymore. My throat felt tight and my chest felt heavy and empty at the same time. That night I couldn't sleep. I just lay there looking at the ceiling, listening to Marcus in the next room talking on the phone with another friend, thinking about how everything changed. When I fell in love with him 4 years ago, he was different. Sweet, caring, kind. We met at a friend's barbecue and he seemed so nice. Surreal. We dated for 1 year and it was the best year of my life. He brought me flowers just because. He took me to dinner and movies. He made me breakfast in bed. We talked about having a family. About kids. About buying a house one day. Then we moved in together and something broke. Slowly at first. Then more and more. He got colder. Got quieter. He wanted more. Gave more. And now, 4 years later, I lay in the dark knowing I didn't even know this person anymore. For the next 2 days, Marcus was so nervous. He kept using the calculator, looking at house prices online, checking how much a 3-bedroom house might cost. He made plans out loud. "I'm finally getting a nice car. Not this old piece of junk. I'm opening a real office in a good part of town. We're going on vacation. No, better than that. We're going to another country. I always wanted to see London. Marcus, don't get too excited yet, I tried to tell him at dinner. You don't even know what's in the will. I know what's in it, he interrupted me, pointing his fork at me. I'm the only nephew. Uncle Raymond doesn't have any other family who's close. Aunt Carol is his wife's sister, so she's not even real family. That means everything comes to me. Simple. He drank his water and looked at me with a strange look. Like he was looking at an old chair, trying to decide if he should keep it or throw it away. You know, Bree, maybe you should start thinking about how you look, he said suddenly. When I get this money, I need a wife who looks the part. Look at you. You dress like you shop at the cheapest store. Your hair is a mess. No nail polish. I would be embarrassed to take you anywhere nice. My face got hot. My hands started shaking. I put my cup down carefully because I was scared I would drop it. I dress like this because we have no money, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. I use every dollar for our bills and your projects. See, there you go, Marcus made an ugly face. Always trying to make me feel guilty. It's not my fault you don't know how to save money. Real women know how to look good and handle the house. I opened my mouth to say something, but the words got stuck. Marcus had already gotten up from the table and left the kitchen. He didn't even take his plate. I sat there alone, looking at my half-finished tea and the food on the table. I felt something inside me break. Really break. Not just crack. Break completely. I walked to the mirror in the hallway and looked at myself for a long time. I really didn't look good. An old sweater with little balls of fuzz on it. Jeans that were so old they were turning white. Hair that needed to be done. New roots showing. A tired face with dark circles under my eyes. But was this my fault? I worked 2 jobs so he could play businessman. I said no to everything I wanted so we could survive. I bought the cheapest food. I saved every penny. And this is how he thanked me. Telling me he was embarrassed of me. That I wasn't good enough for him. I slowly went back to the kitchen and sat down. My hands were still shaking. I poured water from the pitcher and took little sips, trying to calm down. I needed to breathe. Maybe it was just stress before the inheritance. Maybe when everything calmed down, Marcus would be nice again. Maybe we could fix this. But deep down, in the most secret part of my heart, I already knew. Nothing was coming back. The Marcus I fell in love with 4 years ago was gone. And maybe he was never really there at all. Morning came and Marcus was walking around the apartment like a trapped animal. He woke up before me, which never happens. Usually he sleeps until 10 or 11. But today at 7 in the morning, he was standing in front of the mirror, brushing his hair and looking at his shirt. "Does this look okay?" he asked when I came out of the bedroom. "Should I wear a tie?" "No, that's too much. It's not a job interview. But it is important. Maybe I should wear a tie." I looked at him. He was wearing his best shirt. A nice blue one we bought 2 years ago for Christmas. His black pants were clean. His shoes were shiny. "You look fine," I said quietly. "You look good." "Of course I look good," he said, turning side to side. "Today is a big day. Today I find out how much money I'm getting." He didn't eat breakfast. Just drank coffee really fast and burned his mouth. He was nervous even though he tried to hide it. He kept looking at his watch, checking his phone, looking at his watch again. "What time do you need to leave?" I asked, pouring myself tea. "The meeting is at 10, but I'm leaving early. I want to make sure I'm there on time. Probably leaving at 9, just in case there's traffic." "Do you want me to come with you?" I asked carefully. For support. Marcus turned around fast and looked at me like I said something crazy. "For what?" he said sharply. "This is family business. You have nothing to do with it." I drank my tea. The hot liquid burned my throat. Family business. That meant I wasn't family. Even though we lived together for 4 years. "Okay," I said. That's all I could say. "Yeah, okay. Aunt Carol is going to be there and she always talks too much. I don't need extra stress." He looked at the mirror one more time, fixed his shirt, and got his jacket. "I'm leaving. I'll be back when I'm back. Might have to look at papers with the lawyer. Might be late." And he left. He didn't even say goodbye. The door closed and I was alone in the empty apartment. I finished my cold tea, washed my cup, and got ready for work. The day was going to be long. At work, time moved so slow. Like a snail. I answered calls, helped people, but my mind was somewhere else. I kept thinking about what was happening at the lawyer's office. What would happen next? How would our life change if Marcus really got a lot of money? Would he be sweet and kind again? Or would he become the mean man I saw these last few months? At lunch, I tried to call him. He didn't answer. I sent a text. "How's it going?" It showed he read it, but he didn't write back. I got home around 6:30. Marcus wasn't there. The apartment was so quiet and empty. I heated up soup from yesterday, ate it, washed the dishes, then sat at my computer. Work didn't stop. I had to finish a report. But I couldn't focus. I kept listening for sounds, waiting for the door to open. Marcus didn't come back until 9. I heard the lock, heard him walk in. I got up from the computer and went to see him. "Well?" I asked, trying to read his face. "What happened?" Marcus stood in the doorway. He had that same weird smile. "Not happy. Greedy." "Everything is perfect," he said, taking off his jacket. "Even better than I thought." And I took a step closer. "What happened?" "A house." Marcus walked into the living room and sat on the couch hard, leaning way back. 3 bedrooms, big, right downtown. A lake cabin in the woods. Money in the bank. Shares in some company Uncle bought a long time ago. The lawyer said altogether it's about $1,800,000. Maybe more. Need to get someone to count it all properly. I sat on the edge of the chair. $1,800,000. That was so much money. More than I could even imagine. "Oh my goodness," I said, breathing out. "That's like a fortune." "Fortune," Marcus finished my sentence. "I'm rich now, Bree. Finally. That's it. No more living in this dump. No more counting every penny. I'm buying a nice apartment. A Mercedes. I'm starting the business I never had money for. Everything is changing." He kept saying not we. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. "When can you get everything finalized?" I asked. Lawyer said a week or 2. Need to get some papers together, check the property value, but those are just small things. The important thing is the money is mine. He got up from the couch and walked to the window. He stood there looking at the evening city, at all the lights on in the buildings. Then he turned and looked at me with a long stare. "You know, Bree, I have a lot to think about tonight," he said. And his voice sounded cold. "Guys. So I'm going to Rico's place. Hang out with him. Talk things over. I'll be really late. Don't wait up for me." "But Marcus." "That's it. I'm gone." And he left. Slammed the door again. I sat in the chair, staring at the empty space where my husband just stood. And inside me, a cold feeling started growing. Like ice spreading through my body. A feeling that something very bad was about to happen. For the next 2 days, Marcus was barely home. He came in late at night when I was already asleep. He left early in the morning. We almost never talked. He was so busy with his thoughts, with his plans. And it seemed like there was no room for me in those plans. Then the thing I was most scared of happened. It was Saturday around noon. I was sitting in the kitchen with coffee, reading news on my phone. Marcus was home, but he locked himself in the bedroom all morning doing something on his computer. Suddenly he came out. His face looked determined, like he made a big decision. "Brielle, we need to talk," he said. His voice made me feel cold inside. "About what?" I asked slowly, putting my phone down. Marcus walked into the kitchen. He got a glass, poured water, drank all of it in one gulp. Then he turned to me and said, "I've been thinking a lot these past few days. And I realized something. You and me were stuck. We've been stuck for years and I don't want to live like this anymore." "What do you mean stuck?" I stood up from the table. My heart was beating really fast. "I mean, I need to move forward. Start a new life. And you're holding me back, Bree. You're like a weight pulling me down to the bottom of the ocean." "Marcus, what are you saying?" My voice was shaking. "I'm saying we need to break up. I want a divorce." The words hung in the air. I couldn't believe what I just heard. Divorce. He wants to divorce me now. Right after he got the money. Are you serious? I could barely get the words out. Very serious, Marcus said coldly. I thought about everything. This is the best choice for both of us. You'll find someone else who fits you better and I'll start my new life. We've lived together for 4 years, I whispered. My legs felt weak. 4 years, Marcus. I helped you all this time. I worked 2 jobs so you could try your business ideas. Hey. And I appreciate that. He interrupted without any feeling in his voice. Really, I do. But appreciation isn't love. And the love left a long time ago. Let's be honest about that. How can you say that? I'm just saying the truth. We got used to each other, but that doesn't mean we have to stay together forever. People change. Changed. And I need something different now. I fell back onto the chair. My legs couldn't hold me up anymore. My head felt foggy and there was a pain in my chest. So sharp I thought my heart would stop. You waited until you got the money, I said quietly, looking at the floor. That's why you didn't say anything before. You just waited. Marcus was silent. And that silence said everything. I packed your things, he said finally. They're in the hallway. 1 suitcase and 2 bags. Everything is there. Clothes, your stuff, books. You can get the rest later whenever you want. I lifted my head and looked at him. He stood there with his arms crossed over his chest, looking down at me. And in his eyes there was nothing. No sorry. No guilt. Just cold nothing. You're throwing me out. Yes. My voice sounded broken, like glass breaking. Right now. The sooner the better, he answered. No point dragging this out. Just makes it harder for both of us. I stood up on shaking legs and walked slowly to the hallway. There was my suitcase. There were 2 bags. He really packed my stuff. While I was at work yesterday, he went through all my things and put them in bags, getting ready to throw me out on the street. I made divorce papers, Marcus said, following me to the hall. He picked up some papers from the little table and handed them to me. Simple. No fighting over property. We both agree. You just need to sign. I'll take it to the courthouse myself. In 1 month it'll be done. I took the papers with shaking hands. My eyes looked at the words, but I couldn't read them. The letters were blurry. Everything was spinning. I don't need you anymore, Marcus said. And now his voice sounded mean, like he was making fun of me. I'm rich now. You understand. I'm going to have a new life. Beautiful and successful. And you stay in your poor, sad life. That's where you belong. He laughed, looking at my white face. Did you actually think I was going to stay with you? Really? You thought I'd want to bring you up to the top with me? Look at yourself. You're nothing special, Brielle. You're a nobody. And you'll never be the kind of woman a successful man needs. Every word was like someone hitting me. I stood there and listened as the man I loved, the man I gave 4 years of my life to, said these terrible things. Destroyed me. And all your sacrifices, Marcus continued, making little quote marks in the air with his fingers. That was your choice. Nobody forced you to work 2 jobs. You decided that yourself. So don't come crying to me now with complaints. I looked at him for a long time. And suddenly something inside me stopped hurting. The pain was still there, but something else came over it. Cold, hard pride. Like armor. Where do I sign? I asked in a steady voice. Marcus looked confused for a second. He probably expected me to cry, beg, to fall apart. But I stood there calm with my back straight, looking at him with empty eyes. Right here, he pointed at a line at the bottom of the page. And here on the second page. I took the pen he gave me and with a steady hand, I signed my name. Once. 4 years of my life crossed out with 2 signatures. Good, Marcus said, taking the papers back. Excellent. Quick and clean. No drama. I always knew you were smart. He folded the papers, put them in a folder, then walked to the door and opened it wide. Well, have a nice life, he said with that mean smile. Or I guess good luck finding another guy to take care of you. I silently picked up the suitcase and 1 bag. They were so heavy, but I didn't make a sound. I stepped outside, then came back for the second bag. Marcus stood in the doorway leaning against the frame, watching me with that nasty smile. You know what, Bree? He said when I picked up the second bag. I almost feel bad for you. You're a decent person. Really. Just not good enough for me. You know what I mean. I'm playing in a different league now. I stopped right at the door, turned my head, and looked at him. I looked at this man I used to love one last time. And I realized there was nothing left inside me. No love. Not even hate. Just emptiness. Goodbye, Marcus, I said quietly but firmly. And I walked out. I didn't look back. Behind me, the door slammed shut. I heard him laugh. Nasty, mean laugh. He was laughing at me. Enjoying his victory. I walked down the stairs carrying the heavy bags and came out onto the street. It was a nice spring day. Sun shining. Birds singing. Life going on like nothing happened. And I stood there in the middle of it all with 2 bags and a suitcase. No home. No husband. With a broken heart. But with my head up high. I took out my phone and called my best friend Nina. Nina, it's me, I said when she answered. Can I stay with you? Just for a few days. I need a place to go. I left Marcus. My voice broke on the last words, but I pulled myself together. This wasn't the time to fall apart. Later. Later I could cry. Later I could feel the pain. Right now I just needed to get to Nina's. To somewhere safe where I could breathe. Course girl. Come right now. Nina's worried voice came through the phone. What happened? I'll tell you when I get there. I'm coming. I called a cab, put my bags in the trunk, and sat in the back seat. When the car started moving, when the street started going by outside the window, I let myself close my eyes. Only then, in the darkness behind my closed eyelids, did the first tears come. Nina met me at the door of her small apartment with hot tea and a big hug. She didn't ask a million questions. She just helped me bring my things inside, sat me on the couch and put a mug in my hands. Drink first. Tell me later, she said, sitting next to me. I told her everything. About the inheritance. About the last few months. About how Marcus kicked me out today, laughing at me. I spoke quietly. No tears this time because the tears ran out in the cab. Only emptiness left inside. What a terrible person, Nina said angrily when I finished. What a complete dog, Bree. I always felt something was wrong with him. But you loved him, so I kept my mouth shut. I did love him, I answered quietly. But I guess that wasn't enough. The first few days I just existed. Like a robot. I slept on the pull-out couch. Went to work. Came back. Did something. Went back to sleep. No thoughts. Just moving. Nina tried to get me to talk to feel better, but I just shook my head and stayed quiet. My phone was silent. Marcus didn't call. Didn't text. Like I never existed in his life. Then on the 4th day, a phone number I didn't know called. Brielle Vance. A man's voice asked when I answered. I took his last name when we got married. Yes, this is me, I said. This is Morrison and Associates law firm. My name is Attorney James Morrison. I handle the estate of Raymond Vance, who recently passed. I need to meet with you about the inheritance. I was confused. But I'm not family, I said. That's my ex-husband's uncle. We're divorced. Well, the divorce papers are being processed. That's exactly why I need to meet with you urgently. The man's voice sounded serious. It's very important. Can you come today? Maybe at 3 o'clock. I looked at my watch. It was 11 in the morning. I was about to go to work. I can come at 5:30 after work, I said. Perfect. We'll see you at 5:30. Do you know where we are? 900 North Franklin Street, Suite 202. Okay, I'll be there. All day I thought about that call. Why did I need to see a lawyer? What could I possibly have to do with Marcus's uncle's inheritance? I barely knew the man. Saw him once. At 5:45 I stood in front of the office door. I took a deep breath and walked in. A woman in a nice dress sat at the front desk. Hello, I'm Brielle Vance. I was called, I said. Go right in. They're waiting for you, the woman pointed at the office door. I walked in. At a big desk sat a man around 50 years old with gray hair and kind eyes. And in a chair by the window sat an older lady in a black dress and a fancy hat. I recognized her. It was Aunt Carol, the one Marcus mentioned. And standing against the wall was Marcus. He looked pale. His eyes kept moving between the lawyer and me. When I walked in, he jumped a little like he wanted to say something but stayed quiet. "Miss Vance, please sit down," the lawyer said, pointing to the chair across from him. I sat down, holding my purse tight in my lap. My heart was beating in my throat. "My name is James Morrison. I'm handling Raymond Vance's estate," the lawyer started. "I needed to find you urgently because something important has come up." He opened a folder on his desk and took out some papers. "The thing is, the deceased's will had a special condition. I told the heir about it in general terms at our first meeting, but now I need to read it completely. In front of everyone involved." Marcus made fists with his hands. I saw it from the corner of my eye, but I tried to only look at the lawyer. "I will read you the full inheritance clause," Attorney Morrison continued, putting on his glasses. Quote, "All my property, including the house at 14 Maple Drive, the lake cabin in northern Wisconsin, money in United Bank accounts, and the stock portfolio, I leave to my nephew Marcus Leon Vance. However, he can only receive this inheritance if he meets the following condition. At the time of claiming the inheritance, Marcus Vance must be legally married to his current wife, Brielle Vance, continuously for at least 1 year from the moment of my death." The lawyer stopped and looked over his glasses at Marcus. "Furthermore, if the marriage ends before 1 year passes, or if at the time of my death Marcus Vance is not married to Brielle Vance, all the property mentioned above will go completely to Brielle Vance as a person who has shown true goodness and strength." Silence filled the office. I didn't understand right away what I just heard. The words came slowly, like honey dripping. "The inheritance goes to me if the marriage ends. And we already signed divorce papers." "That's impossible," Marcus squeezed out, walking toward the desk. "That can't be right. Uncle couldn't write that." "The will was made 2 years ago," the lawyer said calmly. "Notarized properly. Signed with witnesses watching. It's completely legal." "But why?" Marcus grabbed his head. "Why would he do that? I'm his nephew. His only nephew." Aunt Carol stood up slowly from her chair. She looked at Marcus with sad eyes. "Because Raymond saw through you," she said quietly but firmly. 2 years ago when he came to visit you both in the city, he stayed with you for 3 days. Remember?" Marcus was quiet. His face turned even whiter. "He saw how you treated Brielle," the old woman continued. "How you ordered her around. How you used her. She worked 2 jobs and you sat around making plans. He saw that she was a good woman and you were selfish and mean. That's when he decided to change his will. He came to my office," the lawyer said. "He told me he wanted to protect a good person. He said if you stayed married for at least 1 year after he died, it would mean you both needed each other. And the inheritance would go to you. But if you got divorced, it meant Brielle deserved to be paid back for all the years she put up with you." Marcus fell into a chair, covering his face with his hands. "When did you file for divorce?" the lawyer asked, looking through papers. "I filed 2 days ago," Marcus answered in an empty voice. "Fast procedure. I paid extra money to get it done quick." "And the divorce became official?" The lawyer nodded. "Yesterday at 2 in the afternoon. Here's the stamp in the system. So the condition in the will has been broken. The marriage ended before 1 year passed after the man died. Therefore, according to the will, all property goes to Brielle Vance." I sat frozen. My head was spinning. This couldn't be real. $1,800,000. A house. Cabin. All of it was mine now. Not Marcus's, who threw me out laughing. "No," Marcus said in a rough voice, jumping up. "No, that's mine. That's my inheritance. I'm the nephew. Have the right." "You had the right," the lawyer corrected, "until you divorced your wife. Now the right passed to her. This is what the deceased wanted, and it's being done according to the law." Marcus turned fast to face me. His eyes were burning. "Bree," he breathed, taking a step toward me. "Bree, listen. This is all a mistake. Stupidity. I didn't mean those things I said. I was just stressed, because of the whole inheritance thing. I didn't really mean it." I watched him silently. We can fix this, he continued, dropping to his knees right there in front of me, right in the middle of the office. We can get married again. The divorce just became official yesterday. We can cancel it, right? He turned to the lawyer. We can file something. Take back the divorce. You can't take back a divorce, the lawyer said dryly. But you can get married again. However, that won't be the marriage mentioned in the will. The condition of continuous marriage has been violated. Then we'll just get married again anyway. Marcus grabbed my hands. His hands were wet and sticky. You hear me, Bree? We'll get married. Everything will be like before. Even better. Change. I promise I'll be different. I'll love you. Take care of you. I pulled my hands away silently. Bree, please, his voice shook. Don't do this. Don't destroy my life. Uncle wanted us to be together. See, he wanted to test us. And we can still pass the test. We just didn't know about it. You failed the test, I said quietly, looking into his eyes. You kicked me out. You laughed at me. You said I was nothing. That I wasn't good enough for you. I didn't mean it, he yelled. I was stupid. Forgive me. I'm on my knees begging you. Forgive me. I stood up. Marcus stayed on his knees, looking up at me. There was panic in his eyes. Fear. But no real sorry. No shame for what he did. Only fear of losing the money. Get up, Marcus, I said calmly. Don't embarrass yourself. I'll do anything, he grabbed the bottom of my jacket. Anything you say. We'll get married and I'll give you half the inheritance. No more than half. You get 60%. 70. Bree, please. I gently removed his hands and stepped back. I don't want to marry you, I said quietly but firmly. Not for all the money in the world. No, Marcus. You killed everything we had. You killed it with your words. With your laughter when you threw me out. And I don't want to go back to that life. Not for anything. I turned to the lawyer. What do I need to do to get the inheritance? Attorney Morrison nodded with respect in his eyes. You'll need to come a few times. Sign papers. Process the certificate. I'll explain everything. We can start now if you want. I said. Bree, wait, Marcus jumped up. You can't just take everything. It's mine. My inheritance. I'll fight this in court. I'll find a way to say the will is wrong. You can try, the lawyer said, but the will is done right. All the rules followed. The deceased was thinking clearly. Proven by doctor records. The court won't be on your side. I won't give up, Marcus shouted. I'll get justice. Justice has already happened, Aunt Carol said quietly, walking over to me. She took my hand and squeezed it. Raymond was a smart man. He knew what he was doing. My dear, I'm so glad it worked out this way. You're a good person and you deserve this inheritance more than anyone. Tears came to my eyes for the first time in days. Not from pain. From thankfulness. From relief. Thank you, I whispered. Marcus stood in the middle of the office. Bill. It's empty. Everything fell apart in 1 second. $1,800,000. The new life. All his plans. Everything turned to dust. And it was all his fault. You can go, Mr. Vance, the lawyer said. Your presence isn't needed anymore. Miss Vance will stay. We have details to discuss. Marcus opened his mouth but no words came out. He stood there a few more seconds, then turned and walked out of the office. The door closed behind him with a soft click. And breathed out. Only now I realized I hadn't been breathing this whole time. My legs felt weak and I sat back in the chair. Are you okay? The lawyer asked with concern. Water. No, thank you. It's just, this is all so unexpected. I understand. But believe me, Raymond made the right choice. He talked a lot about you when he wrote the will. He said you were the only person in his nephew's life who deserved respect. I nodded, not knowing what to say. Aunt Carol sat next to me and hugged my shoulders. Stay strong, baby, she whispered. The worst is over. Now your new life starts. Yes, I thought. New life. Without Marcus. Without being put down. Without counting every penny. With $1,800,000 I couldn't even imagine. Felt like a dream. Scary and beautiful at the same time. I left the law office when it was getting dark. In my hands was a folder with papers. In my head was fog. But in my chest was a strange light feeling. Like I was floating above the ground. Everything that happened seemed unreal. Like someone else got this inheritance and I was just watching. I took out my phone and called Nina. "Nina, you won't believe it," I said when she answered. I became the heir. Everything went to me. $1,800,000. Silence on the other end. Then a scream. "What? Brielle, are you serious?" "How?" I explained as I walked to the train station. About the will. About the condition. About how Marcus got on his knees and begged me to come back. I talked and didn't believe my own words. "That is just incredible," Nina breathed out. "Brie, do you understand what this means? You're free. You're rich. You can do whatever you want." "I haven't realized it yet," I admitted, going down into the train station. It's like a dream. The next days flew by so fast. Trips to the lawyer. Signing papers. Meetings with people who check property values. Opening bank accounts. Aunt Carol helped with everything. Explained things. Supported me. Turns out she knew about Raymond's plans from the beginning. "He told me when he wrote the will," the old woman said, sitting with me in a little restaurant after another visit to the lawyer. "He said, Carol, I saw how that boy treats his wife. He's selfish and cruel. If he doesn't change in a year, at least let her get something for all those years." Raymond was a fair man. He couldn't stand seeing people be mean. I listened and felt thankful to the old man I barely knew. He protected me even after he died. Gave me a chance to start fresh. But Marcus didn't give up. He called every day. First he begged. Then he threatened. Then he begged again. He came to Nina's building. Waited outside my work. I didn't talk to him. Just walked past. But he would catch up, grab my arm. "Brie, you can't do this to me," he shouted in the middle of the street. People stared. We lived together for 4 years. 4 years. Does that mean nothing? Did it mean nothing to you? I answered calmly, pulling my arm free. "You proved that yourself when you threw me out." I explained. "I wasn't myself. Forgive me. Give me one more chance." But I walked past. Again and again. And each time it got easier. The pain went away. Turned into nothing. One evening he showed up at Nina's door. I opened it and saw him. He looked terrible. Messy hair. Wrinkled shirt. Red eyes. He stood there with dead flowers in his hands. "I wait here on these stairs every night," he said in a rough voice. "Waiting for you, Brie. Please. I can't live without you. Come back. We'll get married. I'll give you all the inheritance if you want. Every penny. Just be with me." I looked at him for a long time and realized I felt nothing. No pity. No sympathy. This man was a stranger. "Marcus, you don't understand," I said quietly. "It's not about the money. It's about the fact that you showed who you really are. You put me down. Threw me out like garbage. And I don't want to be with a man who could do that. Ever again. But people make mistakes," he begged. "I made a mistake. I admit it. But we can start over." "No, we can't. Goodbye, Marcus." Closed the door. Behind it I heard banging on the door. "Please." Then crying. Nina looked at me with pride. "Brie, you did the right thing," she said. "I'm proud of you." I leaned against the door and closed my eyes. Yes, I did the right thing. I knew it with my whole heart. 1 week later, all the inheritance papers were done. I became the owner of the house downtown, the lake cabin, the bank accounts, and the stocks which people said were worth more than they first thought. Total value around $2 million. I sat in my new house. Huge. Bright. With tall ceilings and big windows looking out at the trees. I couldn't believe this was my home now. The furniture was old but nice. Paintings on the walls. Books on the shelves. Uncle Raymond lived a long life here, and in every corner I felt his spirit. I got up and walked to the window. The city was busy below. People rushing. Cars driving. I stood there in this house and for the first time in years felt free. Really free. I called the doctor's office and quit my job. I quit the second job too. No more working 14 hours a day. No more counting pennies. What are you going to do now? Nina asked when we met for coffee. I don't know, I admitted, stirring my drink. I want to live for myself. Maybe learn something new. I always wanted to learn Spanish properly. And I want to travel. See the world. You deserve it, Nina smiled. After everything you went through. I signed up for Spanish classes. Then art classes. I loved to draw when I was little, but then life got in the way. Now I had time for everything. I bought clothes I liked. Went to get my hair done. To the nail salon. Little by little, day by day, I came back to myself. To the Brielle I had buried under all the tired and hurt. 1 month later, Aunt Carol invited me for tea. We sat in the kitchen of her apartment and I told her about my plans. And I also want to help people, I said. Help women who fell into hard times like I did. Women who were left with nothing. Raymond would approve, Aunt Carol smiled, pouring tea. He always said money should do good, not just sit there. You know, Marcus tried to fight the will in court, I said. I heard. But just like the lawyer said, the judge said no. The will was done right. No way to fight it. He nodded. I didn't feel happy about his pain. Just accepted it as fact. How is he now? Asked, surprised I even cared. Not good, Aunt Carol sighed. No money. No place to live. He was renting that apartment you both lived in. He's staying on Rico's couch now. Trying to find work, but nobody wants to hire him. No real experience and too much pride for basic jobs. I heard he started dating some girl, but she left fast when she found out he had no money. I finished my tea. I didn't feel sorry for Marcus. He got what he earned. Time passed. I went to Mexico. My first time leaving the country. I stood on a beach and cried from happiness. From the beauty. From the fact that I was there. That I was free. That my whole life was ahead of me. I learned to paint and I was actually good at it. I opened a small charity that helped women in bad situations. Paid for lawyers during divorces. Helped with housing. With finding jobs. You've changed, Nina said as we walked through the park on a warm fall day. You look younger. I feel reborn, I admitted. Like I lived my whole life in a dark cave and now I stepped into the sunshine. And it was true. I bloomed. Cut my hair in a nice style. Colored it. Lost weight not from dieting but because I stopped eating my feelings. I started smiling. Laughing. Living. Then 6 months after that day at the lawyer's office, something happened. I was in a coffee shop. The same one where Nina and I often sat. I ordered a latte and a muffin. Sat by the window reading a book. Suddenly the door opened and Marcus walked in. He saw me right away. Froze in the doorway. I looked up from my book and our eyes met. He looked so old. Lost weight. He wore a cheap jacket. Faded jeans. Hair unwashed. Beard messy. Next to him was a girl. Young. Maybe 23. Blonde hair extensions. Too much makeup. She was talking to him in an annoyed voice. How much longer, Em? You promised to take me somewhere nice and you bring me here. Do you even have money? Have it, Candy. I have it, Marcus mumbled, not taking his eyes off me. Just tight right now. Soon, the girl huffed. That's all you say. If I knew you were broke, I wouldn't have even talked to you. They walked to the counter. Marcus ordered 2 coffees. His hands shook as he pulled change from his pockets, counting it. The girl looked at him with disgust. I watched this scene and felt nothing. Here was the man who once laughed at me, called me nothing, said I wasn't good enough. Now he was exactly what he thought I was. Nobody. And the girl next to him looked at him the same way he once looked at me. Marcus took the coffees and turned around. Our eyes met again. He took a step toward me. But I looked away and went back to my book. Just kept reading like he wasn't there. And why are you standing there? The girl called. Let's sit. He stood there another second. Then turned and followed her to a table in the corner. I saw from the side how they sat down. How the girl kept complaining. How Marcus sat hunched over, staring into his cup. I finished my coffee. Finished my muffin. Left a big tip. Got my purse and walked out of the cafe. I didn't look back. Didn't go over. Just walked past like you walk past a stranger on the street. It was sunny and warm outside. Late summer. I stopped on the sidewalk, lifted my face to the sun and smiled. My phone rang. It was Aunt Carol inviting me to the lake cabin. She said the berries were ripe and it was time to pick them. Of course I'll come, I said. This weekend. I walked down the street and for the first time in years, there was no weight on my chest. No fear about tomorrow. No shame. No pain. Just life. Bright. Full of possibilities. And it was all mine. I passed a travel agency window and stopped. Photos in the display. London. Tokyo. Rome. Thought for a moment. Maybe it was time to go somewhere else. London maybe. Marcus once said he wanted to go there when he got rich. But he didn't get rich. I did. I smiled at my reflection in the window. No, not London. London could wait. Right now I just wanted to live here. In this city. Enjoy every day. Paint. Learn. Help people through my charity. Be myself. And what happened with Marcus? That was another life. A stranger's life. The past. I closed that door and I would never open it again. Never. I took out my phone and called Nina. Nina, let's do something fun tonight. Maybe see a movie or go to that new restaurant by the river. I'd love to, my friend said happily. You sound really happy today. Just feeling good, I smiled. I hung up and kept walking down the sunny street. My chest felt light. Bright. Like I was flying, not walking. Like the whole world opened up in front of me. Full of colors and chances. And somewhere in the cafe behind me sat Marcus. Staring at the bottom of an empty cup. Cursing the day he decided money was more important than love. And pride was more valuable than being human. But that wasn't my problem anymore. That was his life. His choice. His punishment. And I had my own life. Finally my own. And it was beautiful. That evening I stood on the porch of my house with a glass of juice in my hand. Below, the city lights sparkled. Somewhere music played. People laughed. I looked at the stars and thought about that old man I barely knew, but who gave me a second life. Thank you, Uncle Raymond, I whispered into the night. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for fairness. I won't disappoint you. I will live this life right. The wind caught my words and carried them into the darkness. And I went back inside and went to bed. Peacefully. No bad dreams. No worry. Just sleep. Knowing that tomorrow would be a new day. And it would be good. 'Cause now every day was good. 'Cause I was free. Finally free. And that was real happiness. Did you like the story? Which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep making more stories like this. Thank you so much for your wonderful support. I'm excited to hear what you thought about the story. On the screen you can see 2 new stories that I think you'll really like. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next story. With love and respect.